In this video, we're going to be checking out a few DIY animal tractors that were shared in the MakerPipe community. And these are all really cool and very unique and have some different ideas and things that we're going to highlight with each of them. But they all do share one commonality, and that's the fact that they're built with EMT conduit and MakerPipe connectors to make the steel framework that you'll see for each of them. And if you're unfamiliar with those materials, you can get EMT conduit off the shelf at pretty much any hardware and home improvement store. And then MakerPipe connectors are steel clamps that we manufacture that you can use to join pieces of conduit together and create all kinds of awesome structures like these builds that we're going to check out today. And this first one is a bunny tractor from Ann, and this thing is awesome, as you can see. Pretty much just a simple rectangular box here, but it has a ton of features packed into it. So first of all, we can see here on the back, pretty obvious, we've got these giant wheels on the back, as we can see here. So he's pretty much, and just built this framework and then grabbed onto the steel framework with another piece of conduit that has the axle going from one side to the other, and then these large wheels. I think those are like the never flat wheels, which is probably good to have on a project like this. But essentially, that is secured there. And then we kind of saw some sneak peeks of the other features that this has built into it. Well, like we can see on top here that she's using the 3D printed hinges from Billy to be able to make this lid that opens and closes, and then you get full access to the inside of the tractor. That's really awesome. And then that lid closes down, and you've got these spring clamps here that the conduit snaps into, and that secures the lid in place, and that's really awesome. We can see that the lid consists of this like plastic corrugated sheeting here, as we can see, and looks fantastic. That looks like it's secured to the conduit frame with some self-drilling screws. We've got some hardware cloth attached to the framework using zip ties. She's got some bins in here for this handle, and pretty much you can grab that side, lift it up, and then you can wheel it around the yard, and then you can see the bunnies in there, and they've got a house on one side there we can see made out of plywood, and then this side is exposed to the grass so they can get in there and eat and stuff. So really awesome. Like I said, packed full of features and just a really cool build that Ann shared. I really appreciate it. Lots of good ideas in this one. Thanks so much for sharing it. This next one is a really massive one from Catherine. This one has all kinds of crazy ideas. It's really awesome and just really clever. Apparently they took apart an Eddie Bauer kid stroller, and you can see there's bits and pieces of that scattered around to be able to make this roll so they can grab onto those handles and roll it around. That's really cool. You got those down there if you didn't see. You've got a nice sloped roof here, which I like a lot. And you can do that using the MakerPipe 135 degree connector as they have there in the middle, which essentially just grabs onto that roof peak that runs from front to back. And then you've got these two pieces that come down from the side to create that sloped roof. That's really cool. And you can see they've got a tarp secured in the back. They've got feeders hanging up in there. And then they've also got some PVC panels here on the outside. And this is kind of just creating a barrier to keep things from digging underneath and getting into the chicken pen. So that's really awesome. And we can see all kinds of really great ideas in here. We've got a perch attached in there. We've got feeders and just all kinds of stuff. It looks like more hardware cloth secured to the frame with zip ties, and just a really awesome one that is really in depth. And you can see Catherine's post in the community. I'll link it down below. She said, don't do everything like we did, and then shared a fantastic write-up so you can check out more details and learn some things from her if you're wanting to make something similar. But really cool. Lots of awesome ideas in here. Thanks so much, Catherine, for sharing this. Next up is a small one. This one comes from Brian, and I like this one a lot. This one is cool because it has kind of this wooden sled on the bottom here, as you can see. And then essentially from there, Brian just bent using incremental bends with a handheld pipe and tube bender to create these large arches that secure to the wooden sled. And then from there, he's just got the hardware cloth bent to match the frame. So really cool. And then I think we can see this other photo here. He's got tarps on the outside, but then you can lift up the front of the tractor there, the square cattle panel. Can just kind of raise that up. But just a really awesome combination of materials and some really great ideas in here. And if you need help bending arches like this, we have a calculator and a tutorial on our YouTube channel that I'll link down below, and that helps a lot with doing these incremental bends. Takes a lot of practice, but that calculator kind of helps take out some of the math that you need to get those measurements. But really cool, really awesome job, and just really clever and looks awesome. So thanks so much for sharing this, Brian. Next up is a similar one to what we saw a couple tractors ago, where actually Richard already had this really nice chicken enclosure in place, but the problem was that foxes and coyotes were getting underneath. So he created these hinging panels using EMT conduit and MakerPipe, as we can see here, that bolt directly to the existing framework there, as you can see. and then he's able to raise those up all the way around the enclosure. So essentially, just kind of fold those down whenever you're worried about stuff crawling or kind of digging underneath and getting inside there. And it's just a really simple 2-dimensional rectangular frame using T-connectors and then some fencing material secured there really easily. So that's cool. And it looks like using self-drilling screws to kind of hold that fencing material in place. That's awesome, and just some really cool techniques in this one, even though it's pretty simple. Next up is a really large enclosure. This comes from Michael, and this one is really awesome. And this one I imagine took a lot of work to build, and you can really tell because it looks fantastic in the end. But this one has a ton of arches in it. It's got a wooden door frame in the front with hinges attached to it and conduit hanger straps there on the uprights of the vertical pipe there. To secure the wooden frame in place. That's really smart. We haven't really seen too many people do that, but essentially that's a pretty good idea for kind of creating a framework for the door and then using hanger straps to mount a wooden door frame in there. That's really smart. And then we can see all kinds of stuff. Of course, you've got the arches that go from one side to the other, using more of those bends, like we just talked about with the incremental bending. And then we can see hardware cloth secured on the outside. And just a really awesome frame and a really awesome tractor. And let's see here. We've got this cool solution, which is a custom-made bracket that he put together for wheels. And this actually raises it up a little bit and then can go back down. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how this works, but it's really awesome because you can see here it is kind of flipped over and slightly elevated. And then here it is whenever it's in place and the wheels are kind of flush with the ground to keep it so you can't really move it around at that point. So that's really awesome. We can see on the inside he's got some different shelves and perches and things in there for the chickens, and then we can see he's got the like hen houses and some feeders fashioned on the inside of the frame, and just a ton of great ideas in this one. Just a really cool build with some unique possibilities and some really great ideas. So really awesome. Thanks so much for sharing this, Michael, and thanks to everybody for posting your builds. As always, we love seeing them. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can check out each of these builds down below. Thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next one.